Well, thank you all for joining me again at our weekly press conference. We have some what we think is pretty exciting news that we want to share today. We have some new development that's getting ready to take place on the far west side of town, and I'm just pleased that Councilwoman Janet Miller has joined us, even though I shared with her that this is the far west side of town. And so this is going to be pretty exciting. It's a public-private partnership that I'm going to turn it over here in just a moment to Councilmember Bryan Frye. This is something that Bryan Frye's been working on even long before he was a city council person, during his time as he chaired the park board. This partnership involves Jerry Jones, the Slauson Group, and New Market Square. It's going to add several elements that Brian's going to get to in a minute that include more stormwater detention, some very, very cool park amenities, and some quality of life opportunities for all of Wichita. And I think that these are the kinds of things that certainly are life-changing for certainly West Wichita, and you'll see people travel to come to some of these amenities. So at this point, the person that really fully understands this and has been working on it for a long time, I'll turn the podium over to Councilmember Bryan Frye.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Thank you. Thank you, and wow, what a wonderful day to be in Wichita. As many of you know, I'm a relatively new resident of the west side, having lived in District 5 for only 13 years. I grew up on the east side of town. Back then, the west side was visits to the zoo and Crystal Lake. In fact, I even remember one trip to Cheney Lake where we stopped at a lonely convenience store on the outskirts of town at 21st and Mays. So it's been a long time. Since then, West Wichita has flourished with new growth, hundreds of new businesses, thousands of new residents, and building year after year. It truly is an exciting time to be a council person for District 5. One of the challenges that all this growth has caused has been keeping pace with our infrastructure: roads, public safety, stormwater control, and quality of life. And more recently, we haven't had the budgets to acquire land for public parks. So that's what makes today's announcement so wonderful. We're here to update you on a unique and exciting project that's mixed use, that will enhance our retail options, preserve our environment, and strengthen neighborhoods. This is just one more example of public-private partnerships that the public will greatly benefit from. What are we talking about? We're talking about the Cadillac Lake project, led by Jerry Jones with Slauson Development. It will transform the former 72-acre Proct farm into a commercial development at the southeast corner of 29th and Mays Road. City partners include Public Works, Utilities, and Park and Recreation. The commercial part of the development will include a hotel, a mix of retail, offices, restaurants on 31 acres. The southern 41-acre portion of the farm will be retained as open stormwater ponds, wetlands, and a unique public park. Now, unfortunately, Jerry Jones could not be here today. He is out of town. And so we're going to focus primarily today on the public side of the project. Jerry will be at the council meeting on Tuesday to address some more of the commercial aspects of it, and he's going to be the proper contact for that. But today we're going to focus on the park amenities. And here are a couple of facts I want to share with you right off the bat. The City of Wichita is enhancing the area through the development agreement with a capital improvement plan of funding of $1 million from 2016 to 2019. The city already owns the existing stormwater detention basin and wetland preserve, which is the south end, and that was constructed in 2009. The entire area known as the Proct Wetlands and Cadillac Lake have been recognized as an important wetland properties, as well as providing flood reduction benefits to properties along the West Link tributary. So again, this involves a gift of land to the people of Wichita. And thanks to the very generous donation by Slauson Companies, led by Jerry Jones, as well as David Hambrick, Mayor Longwell, and city staff, we're going to provide something truly unique for all of Wichita to enjoy. Now, with the developer granting 41 acres to the city at no cost, we'll be able to combine our existing Cadillac Lake project to form an urban wetland park. At the same time, the Department of Park and Recreation, as well as Stormwater, Public Works, and Utilities departments have been acquiring the necessary Army Corps of Engineer permits to prepare the development agreement and continued access to the site. What's really unique about this property is to have a wetland inside an suburban area is very rare. We don't get these kind of opportunities very long, especially this size. This particular piece of property is home to a diverse collection of plant life, wildlife. I've personally toured the site, and it's amazing. To have this fantastic resource open and available to the public is truly unique. Features inside the park will include natural water features anchored by Cadillac Lake, a walking trail with crushed granite overlay. This is ideal for runners, walkers, people who just want to get out and enjoy nature. I talked about the habitat for wildlife, amazing bird watching opportunities, incredible. Certainly it's going to be accessible to the surrounding neighborhood along with the commercial development. The educational opportunities related to the environment, the wildlife, and the preservation of wetland habitats. They're disappearing at an alarming rate. Here we have the opportunity to enhance and retain some wetlands. And yes, there will be parking. It's always important for Wichitans. As you know, as most West Siders know firsthand, stormwater control is always a concern. The city will maintain water rights on the property, ensuring that the ponds stay level during times of drought or low rain. And we will also be able to maintain and enhance the management of stormwater in the area with the additional detention ponds. Another key component of this project, and kudos to city staff for working this through, we've got several endorsements from environmental and stakeholder groups, including the Watershed Restoration and Protection Strategy for the Cowskin Creek Watershed. This is most commonly known as RAPS. The Wichita Audubon Society, Kansas Wildlife Federation, the Nature Conservancy of Kansas, Playa Lakes Joint Venture, the Kansas chapter of the Wildlife Society, as well as current and former directors of the Great Plains Nature Center who have a long-time knowledge and history of this resource. So in closing, this is a wonderful addition to not only the north end of New Market Square, but for the city as a whole. To be able to capture this acreage for this use is really unheard of. I know Park Director Troy Hoffman has been very involved with this, and when we got the tour of the property together, he was amazed at the resource that we're going to be able to have for the city of Wichita. So again, thanks to Slauson Company for this gift, and we look forward to hearing their presentation on Tuesday at the City Council meeting. And I'm going to turn it back over to the Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it. As Brian described in great detail, what a wonderful new partnership and amenity for West Side. I will tell you, very pleased during my first 8 years when we said we were going to tackle much of the West Side flooding issues, and we've been able to do that bits and pieces. This is another pretty giant bit of that piece that helps us tackle additional West Side capacity. What we do know now, these dry detention facilities that we're building work very, very well, and this will have another significant dry detention facility that will help keep the water away from coming into the city. And so that's a big element of this partnership, also included with the great amenities that Brian described today. So we have Troy here. We have nearly our entire city council. Levanta Williams probably got the memo that we were starting at 11 o'clock. She joined us. Thank you. The vice mayor's here, and happy at this point in time to open it up to any questions for any of us.
I was a little confused, Brian, on the gift. So he's donating all of that land?
The 41 acres on the north end of the Cadillac Lake Proct wetland. It's really here up. This is already owned by the city.
Okay.
On the southern end. This is what we've had since 2009. It's primarily everything north of here to this end. This is going to stay as commercial.
Okay.
Okay.
So what was there before?
It was a homeowner residence farm. They managed it as their own wetlands and used it for their recreation and livelihood.
They did a lot of hunting and fishing on that as recently as up to a year ago. We would occasionally get those calls, and that's one of those strange areas where they were still allowed to legally hunt on that land. And that always provides challenges in the middle of a neighborhood to have someone hunting. But it's really going to be a nice park. Do we remember what is the acreage of that southern portion of the wetlands area?
Approximately 44 acres.
So this,
Together we're going to have over 90 acres of parkland.
yeah, which is going to be pretty special. On top of that, my understanding is the developer is going to add some additional amenities besides just donating the land. The developer is willing to put in some sidewalks on part of that parkland area. So,
Do you know when it will start, when the project will start and when it will be finished?
As it relates to the commercial side, I think we'll have to defer to Mr. Jones for that. We've got it in our capital plan to begin in 2016, but timelines, that's probably fluid. We've got to put some stuff out for bid and so forth. So,
Does the council have to approve that first?
yes, we do have to approve the gift as well as the development agreement.
and that's coming to us Tuesday.
Okay.
As well as when we start making improvements to the property, we bring those items to the council.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have the CIP portion of it, the capital improvement, because there are some amenities like an observation station, parking. Those projects have to be approved individually
Right.
or as a capital improvement project by the council.
Are you looking at a name for the park?
Not yet, not yet. We do have a process for naming of our parks, and that has to be worked through. It usually starts with the park board and then comes back to the council for approval. We have a very specific policy on naming of facilities.
How did this partnership originate? Did they come to the city, or did you guys go to them, or how did that work?
It started with the mayor to begin with, so.
We started this partnership with Slauson, 8-9 years ago, maybe longer. And it involved several hurdles. It originally started when we were looking for some areas where we could have some dry detention where we could impact west side flooding. And one of the things that we recognized early, and if you're familiar with West Wichita, there's a tremendous amount of water that funnels into that whole Cadillac Basin area, and it operates just like a funnel. Covers a pretty wide range, almost looks like a funnel on a map, and then comes down to that area about where those dry detention ponds are today, and works its way down through Westlink and the ditch that is set in Westlink, and then works its way down to the Cowskin. What we recognize, if we can hold water back from coming into the city and release it well after the storm event, it makes a big difference in our stormwater issues. And so we came together years ago, and then out of that came other topics like, well, what if we did this, and wouldn't it be nice if we had another park in West Wichita? And so it's funny how you'll start down one path and then get the ball rolling, and then a lot of other things can come out of that, and that's pretty much what happened here.
And also, if you're not familiar with this particular property, it truly is a treasure, and most people couldn't imagine it becoming parking lot or more homes when you've got such an amazing wetland that exists within the city limits. People wanted to take that and enhance it.